The movie starts in a desert where two guys are trying to catch a special big lizard. One of them manages to catch it with a net, but the other guy notices a warning on the ground that says it's a dangerous area and people shouldn't be there. He tells his friend to leave. While they're trying to retrieve the net, they hear a strange noise and discover a huge hole in the desert, which shocks them. Suddenly, the first guy sees his friend emerging from the hole, looking terrified and asking for help. Before he can figure out what's happening, a gigantic creature grabs his friend and pulls him into the hole. Frightened, he tries to escape on his motorcycle, but it won't start. The creature reaches out with its big hand, grabs him, and pulls him toward the hole. Later in the movie, we meet two singers who are siblings and perform together in a club. The boy's name was Cow, and after their performance, he confided in his sister about their senior taking more than half of the money they earned from singing, which is why he stopped working with him. While they were talking, the police from the drug prevention unit arrived at the club to check if anyone was using drugs. In the end, they accused Cow of being the only one using drugs, despite his protestations that he had never used drugs before. The police didn't believe him and started to suspect his former senior, with whom he had parted ways. Cow was released on bail, and during their conversation, Cow's sister received a call informing her of their grandfather's passing. Upon hearing this, they immediately headed to their village to be with their mother. During the journey, Cow began reminiscing about his childhood days spent with his grandfather. He remembered how his grandpa had taught him how to extract water by digging with the aim of solving the water shortage problem in their village. After a long journey, they finally reach their home and reunite with their family. During their visit, they meet Fawn, a girl who used to be Cow's childhood friend. She's now a famous YouTuber who makes videos for her YouTube channel. Cow tries to talk to Fawn, but she's upset with him because he hasn't kept in touch for 10 years since leaving the village. The story then takes us back to Cow and Fawn's childhood. Fawn's dad had given some precious lizards to Cow's grandpa as a gift. Fawn had caught these lizards, but Cow released them, believing that no one should be kept in captivity. Fawn was impressed by Cow's kindness, and they became friends. Back in the present, we see Cow and Fawn again, just like in the beginning of the story. They get trapped in a cave by a dangerous creature. Suddenly, a giant and menacing creature appears, and unfortunately, it kills both Cow and Fawn. Afterward, Cow starts watching Fawn's YouTube videos. Fawn decides to organize a competition to celebrate reaching 8 million followers on her channel. She explained that if someone successfully extracted water by digging in their village's ground, they would be rewarded with a substantial amount of money. Cow shared this with his sister, and she agreed that they should participate in this competition. They also invited Cow's friend to join their group. Eventually, they all went to the location where Fawn had organized the competition. Many other people had already gathered there to take part. Each group was provided with a map and a flare gun to be used when they succeeded in finding water. During this time, a wealthy man arrived at the scene. He had his own business related to underground digging and approached Fawn, showing interest in joining the competition. However, he started to behave rudely towards her. Cow intervened and put a stop to his misbehavior. Fawn then fired the flare gun to signal the start of the competition. Everyone dispersed to different spots to dig in the ground in hopes of finding water. Meanwhile, two men stumbled upon the bikes that belonged to the two individuals we saw at the beginning of the film, the ones who had encountered the mysterious creature. These two men took the bikes and continued on their way. Later, the creature ripped through the ground and started chasing the two men on the bike at the same speed. They were terrified and swerved their bike desperately to evade the creature. It turned out this creature was quite clever, as it created a deep trench in their path. In a desperate attempt to escape, the two men fell into the trench. On the other side, Cow and his companions continued their journey in search of water. Eventually, they came across several plates placed upside down on the ground, each inscribed with magical words. Cow's sister wondered why the plates were arranged this way, and Cow explained that it was an ancient traditional method of locating water. If there was water underground, it would push up against the plate, displacing it. As they discussed this, another group arrived who had been digging nearby. One of the men in that group shared a belief that a giant and dangerous monster lived in this area. To protect themselves from it, they had placed the plates with the magical words. Cow was skeptical about these claims, but listened attentively. They decided to continue their search, and as evening fell, Cow discovered an old map that had belonged to his grandfather in their car. Cow discovered a mark on his grandfather's map near the mountain, but when he compared it to the map provided by phone, he noticed that there was no such mark on her map. Realizing this, the three of them concluded that they might find water at the mountain. They decided to head there the following day, while the other people left the area due to the approaching evening. However, the three of them opted to spend the night there. As one of them ventured away from the group, the creature suddenly appeared, flying towards him. It swiftly decapitated him, and his head fell in front of his friends, shocking them to their core. Terrified, they fled to save their lives. However, they soon encountered the giant creature face to face. It was revealed that this creature was none other than the enormous lizard from earlier, which had grown to an immense size. It killed both of the remaining men and made them its prey. The next morning, when Fawn learned about the disappearance of the three men, she became deeply concerned and decided to halt the competition. Later, Fawn's manager contacted the wealthy man and informed him about the three people who had gone missing, leading Fawn to consider ending the competition. The rich man reacted with anger, claiming that if the competition were to end, things would turn out worse. He implied that he had knowledge of the situation's outcome, which left the manager deeply frightened. To persuade Fawn to continue, the manager approached her, explaining that it was not a good idea to start the competition and then abruptly end it. He argued that they shouldn't jump to conclusions about the missing individuals. Perhaps they had returned, or someone else had found them. Reluctantly, Fawn agreed to continue the competition at the manager's request. Cow and his companions followed the map and eventually arrived at a location where they discovered a cave. Upon entering the cave, they encountered a damp wall, leading Cow to believe that water might be behind it. He suggested breaking the wall. However, this cave turned out to be the lair of the giant lizard, which suddenly appeared and grabbed Cow's friend in its mouth. Witnessing the horrifying scene in the cave, both siblings were gripped by fear, and they quickly fled the cave to save their lives. They tried to warn the others about the creature, but no one believed them initially. However, their disbelief was shattered when the creature re-emerged, tearing through the ground, and attacked a man, lifting him halfway out of the ground before pulling him under. The onlookers were horrified by this sight, and now began to trust Cow's earlier warnings. Panic set in, and they all ran for their lives. Cow's sister and the rich man managed to find refuge in a nearby truck, but the manager was left outside. The creature approached him and swiftly killed him with a single attack. Now, the creature was in pursuit of Cow and Fawn, and they fled desperately, with the creature matching their pace. As they ran, they accidentally fell into a trench. In a desperate bid to save her brother, Cow's sister blew the truck's horn, diverting the creature's attention. It approached the truck but couldn't spot them hiding underneath it, allowing them to evade the creature, which departed silently. As Cow and Fawn explored the cave further, they soon realized that they had fallen into the creature's lair. Moving deeper into the cave, they stumbled upon numerous eggs belonging to the creature. To their astonishment, they also found Cow's friend, who was still alive but trapped within a sturdy casing created by the creature. Despite their efforts, they were unable to break open the casing to free him. It became apparent that the creature had imprisoned many people in similar casings, using them as a source of food for its offspring. Meanwhile, Cow's sister cautiously left the truck and noticed that the creature was resting atop it. She moved silently and without making any noise, settling into the car of the rich man who had been traveling with them. However, when the rich man returned to his car, he inadvertently made a noise, awakening the creature. In a swift attack, the creature seized him and dragged him into the cave, locking him up with the others. Cow and Fawn found themselves back near the damp wall once more. Upon examining it, Fawn suggested that there might be water on the other side because, being a lizard-like creature, it likely had an aversion to water. The siblings, Cow and Fawn, discovered that the creature had constructed the wall to protect itself from water. As they exited the cave, they encountered a few other people, but their meeting was short-lived as the creature arrived swiftly, capturing and killing them in the blink of an eye. It also captured Fawn and took her with it. Cow, left alone, fired the flare gun, attracting the attention of a single group, the same one whose member had earlier warned them about the creature and the plates. Cow's sister eventually arrived at the scene, and together they devised a plan. They began playing loud music, drawing the creature towards them. As the creature tore through the ground and roared, they encircled it and launched an attack. The creature retreated to its cave. Cow's sister, with the help of her friends, entered the cave and managed to free all the caged individuals from their casings. However, they realized that the rich boy was missing, prompting Fawn to venture into the cave to search for him. The rich man had brought a bomb with him, and they decided to place it in the damp wall. Cow, holding the remote for the bomb, went into the cave alongside Fawn. Inside the cave, Fawn found the rich boy. However, as they were leaving, the creature suddenly appeared before them. The rich man, in a panic, abandoned Fawn and fled to save himself. Just in time, Cow arrived on the scene and, in a daring move, jumped onto the creature's back. He climbed onto the creature and attacked it with an axe. Despite Cow's efforts, the creature remained formidable. In a desperate move, the creature seized Fawn with its tail and was on the verge of harming her. However, Cow fired the flare gun and aimed it into the creature's mouth. This caused the creature to hallucinate, its attention diverted. Taking advantage of this momentary distraction, Fawn and Cow made their escape. As Cow and Fawn emerged from the cave, Cow pressed the button on the bomb, triggering a powerful explosion that shattered the wall. This explosion released a torrent of water that rapidly flooded the cave. The force of the water was immense, and the creature was carried away by the rushing water, ultimately leading to its demise. The water flowed so rapidly that it almost caught up to Cow and Fawn, but they managed to escape from the cave just in time. Cow's sister and his friend also made it to safety. Outside the cave, they witnessed water gushing rapidly from the ground, bringing immense relief. This indicated that their village's water problem was finally solved. However, the movie took an unexpected turn when the rich boy emerged from the trench, still alive and holding one of the creature's eggs, laughing sinisterly. The presence of the egg hinted that the creature had not been completely eradicated, as there were still more of its kind to potentially hatch from the remaining eggs.